may I have the opportunity to thank you all who visited our YouTube channel and those who responded to Wang-oo. We are moving on the right direction, and I think soon we are going to have our discussion live online. That is why we need you, and we need your subscriptions. Today we are going to talk about leadership. You see, when we talk about leadership, the leadership starts from the grassroots. When it starts from the grassroots, it could be from a local council, from a school, because in schools, you have the headmaster, you have the head teacher, you have the teachers, and you have the children they teach. So when you are holding that position as a head teacher, as a headmaster, or as a teacher, you have to follow a certain norm and value that is called leadership. Because those kids takes you all as a role model. And then you can apply that to the council, to the municipality, or to political parties. When you have political parties, you have the president of a party, you have the secretary general, and all these people have to follow a certain norm and values, have to make sure that the norms and values are respected. And we give that to our family. We give that to our friends. And the people you are leading as a political party, they look at you as a leader. So being a leader is a very, very big responsibility. It means you have to check yourself up. You have to respect yourself. And at the same time, the eyes of everyone, including those people you lead, will be watching you. What you do, how you do it, and when you do it. And when you forget for a second, you can make a mistake. There is not wrong. There is nothing wrong about making a mistake. If you make a mistake and you correct it, it's fine. But if you make a mistake and you don't correct it, then it becomes a problem. If you take that role of leadership, it means you have to respect the norm and value of real leadership. If you don't, then you get yourself into trouble. If you come late for the first time, it could be acceptable. But if you come late again for the second time, we could say, okay, thank you very much, I forgive you. It has happened. Those things can happen. But if it turned out to be a routine, whereby every time you just come late, and even the journalists, they run away. They just say, well, sorry, we cannot wait for somebody who comes 30 minutes late. And that had been happening a lot. That the journalist goes somewhere, they wait for you, and you come 30, 40 minutes later, and here you are carrying that title, you are carrying a leadership role. You are a role model to a lot of people, including the journalist. You see, where we are is a bit different. People are tuned to a system that you can criticize a leader and nothing happened to you. But in some other parts of the world, as I was listening to the program of my sister, Wake Up Africa, and Dr. Mumbi said, there are some places, if you criticize a leader, they'll send you to prison. They'll send you to prison, and you'll rot in prison. But that does not happen in some other countries. So if we are very strict with people and we send people to jail, then it means we have to double check our leaders. We double checked the leaders we elected to go to parliament, for example, that they have to be accountable for what they do. Because if the little man can be held accountable for annoying, say, a member of parliament, or annoying a president, or annoying a minister, then you, as a leader, you opted for that job, you wanted that job, you have gone for it, so you have to be tested. The test is we, the people. It means we have to cross-check you in whatever you do. And that counts also for, look, the journalists can also check you, because if they keep coming and you're coming late, then it means there should be a check and balance. Now that check and balance, we are the people who does it. Let me get back to leadership again. Sometimes we forget what leadership is all about, because leadership is everywhere. I've mentioned a few, like political parties. But you go to the hospital. In the hospital, you have the managers, you have the doctors, you have the nurses who are working there. All these people are carrying a layer of leadership. And they should respect that norm and value they carry. Because if I go to the hospital, I meet you there as a doctor, and then the next day, I walk down in Owino, I find you so drunk that you don't know yourself, then I begin to doubt whether you're a real doctor or a drunk. So all those layers have to be respected, whether you work in the hospital, whether you work in the government offices, because you have leadership role in yourself. Whether you are an accountant, that is a leadership role. Whether you're a clerk, that is a leadership role. You have to respect that norm and values. And if we don't, then we get into a lot of problems. We get into a lot of problems. And when you get into a lot of problems, you begin to doubt people. You begin to send people to prison. because you claim they have offended you. That is not the right way. So let's examine leadership properly. It is a pity that sometimes when you watch some videos or you go to Twitter, those people who claim the role of leadership in whatever organization they are working with, they just jump into Twitter and start telling stories that does not correspond to the title they carry. A few days ago, I was watching one Twitter. The man was claiming that the oil they have belong to one individual. And then I kept asking myself, I said, is this man really sick or he does not know what he's doing? Here is a man who is having a leadership role. And then you come out in Twitter and you say, the oil we have belong to John. The oil we have belong to Paul. It doesn't make sense. There are no oil anywhere in a state or in a country that belong to one person. It belongs to a state. And people are the state. And if you see that, those Twitter from a very, very responsible man in a state, putting all that nonsense that a oil belongs to individuals. When do a person own a oil? Or when do a party own a oil? Because if we had started a long time ago, say 60 years ago, then we would have already given people a lot of names that oil belongs to Tom, that oil belongs to Peter, or that oil belongs to Majimoto. So which one is which? Here is somebody who is carrying a label of a leader. He comes out to Twitter and then he tweets nonsense. You have some others who like traveling weekend. You drive around the country and you see a big mountain and you stop, you climb there, you go and make a photo and then you come and put it in the Twitter and say, yeah, guys, this is a really blessed country. Why don't you go to your constituency and talk to the people and try to solve their problem rather than driving around and making a joke out of it? You have to understand that you represent us, the people. And when you represent us, the people, we have the right to control and check what you do. So we, the people, will always try to check and counterfeit messages you people put on Twitter, which does not even make sense. A oil belongs to the state, a oil belongs to the people of that state. It does not belong to individuals. Really, when I just read that Twitter, I said there's something wrong with us. Have we lost it? Because if everybody stand up and say, okay, now guys, I have also a name, and I want that oil to be put in my name, and I want that gold to be mentioned with my name. So all of us are going to fight to get to that level where we can own those golds and oil. Let me go back to the political parties now. You see, I keep asking myself, How can we control and check the leadership role of those who are leading us? There are a few ways to do it, because as I speak, probably there are few people in the political parties who have not paid their membership fees. So if I was a general secretary of any political party in Uganda today, I would first go and check. The first thing you have to do now, check whether they have paid their membership fees. To me, you'll be surprised that there are a lot of people who have not even renewed their membership fees, or they have not paid it. So that is one way of checking whether our members, say the member of a political party, respect the norm and the norm and value of their own party. So if I was a secretary general of that party, I would order my boys to just start checking up these people, because sooner or later you'll find that these people, they don't pay their bills. And when you don't pay your bills, what sort of message are you sending to the people you lead, to the member you lead? What sort of message are you sending to the entire country? Because one time or another, we will start doubting you. We will not even know what you stand for. You call yourself a leader, but you forget to pay your bill. That is what happened when you forget to pay. You see, when our sister in our program, she says, "Wake up, Africa." Now I believe it, that it is our duty, and it is your duty too at home, to check up those who lead you, because we really want to know, are they honest? Because if you cannot pay your membership fee of a political party, then how can you rule a state? Leave alone the state. Say, if you are a person who cannot even pay your membership fees, how can you be a CEO? How can you be a head of a hospital? How can you run a airline? Because you don't fit into the equation of leadership. You wanted to be a leader, but you don't fit. Because you cannot pay a simple bill. You cannot say a simple bill. It is a pity that sometimes people have to learn the hard way. But I challenge all of you. You see, Wang-oo is working hard. Wang-oo is trying to set up a discussion line live soon. That is why we really need your subscription. Subscribe. We have people who want to become the president of Uganda. But the question is, can you trust them with your vote? Everybody is running around, everybody is fighting, we want to get that, we want to be a president. But then, let's consider the leadership role very seriously. Those who does not fit in that leadership role should get out and leave a way for other people to do the job. Because if a leader cannot pay his subscription, say pay his membership fee, then how do you expect that leader to rule a state? If a leader cannot pay up 40,000 Uganda shilling for his website domain, then how do you expect such a leader to lead a state? Tomorrow he will go for your money. Or he can ask for 1 year's salary in advance. Or he can tell you, yeah, no, guys, I'm broke, give me money. But that would be a little bit fair, because when he's very open and he says, guys, I'm broke, I need money, I would say, okay, but don't come back again. You see, when you're a leader, you have to keep checking your bills wherever they are and make sure that they are paid. They're paid. Make sure that they are paid. Because if they are not paid, then you are not following the norm and values of leadership. You are carrying. And this is something that had been bothering me a lot. That people fail to pay their bills. And it's the same thing that I appeal to the Secretary General of different political parties at home in Uganda. If I were you, I would go and check the membership fees, who have paid, who have not paid, who is dodging it, because you may be surprised. You may be surprised. You may find that a lot of people have not paid their membership fee. But then let's go back to the leadership role. Because if you have not paid your membership fee, or you have failed to pay for your domain, and you want to lead the state, the question is, can we trust you with our money? Can we trust you with our money? I don't think so. Because that is the highest job in the country, being a president of a country. When you want that job, you have to be careful what you wish for. When you want that job, you have to follow the norm and values of leadership. You have to live by example. And let's live by example. Because as I said before, whether you're working in the hospital, or you're a general manager, or you're a school teacher, we all live by example. That is what is demanded from us. If you cannot, then let's say you don't do it. And to those leaders who always run to Twitter, maybe it's time you have to think twice. Because if you come and start telling people that the oil we have belongs to one person, then you're mad. When you come out and start telling us that we should not eat meat, then you're crazy. And when you come out and you tell me what I should do in my house, then that is the question that we have to go back to it to say, is that in your job description about what I do at home, what I do in my house? You are supposed to be busy with something else, and you try to bring something else into it. We would reject it. Maybe it's time the people should wake up and frequently check up their leaders. Whether you're a councillor, whether you're a member of parliament, whether you're a minister, whether you're a doctor, we have to keep checking these people up. Check and balance. Because if you don't, you might not even realize what is happening. If you don't, you will not understand what they're doing. I tell you, it is interesting when you go to this social media and you see how those leaders are behaving, what they put there. And sometimes I think, let's think twice before we put something there. Let's try to respect ourselves, because as a leader, you have to respect yourself before someone else respects you. Because if something that comes from your mouth does not represent the title you carry, then we have to check you up. If you go on Twitter and you talk nonsense, we will follow you up. We have to follow our leaders. Here, people have a good backup system whereby you can put your leader out in a vote when the time comes. So guys, let me remind you again. Follow Wang-oo on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also send me a tweet, because we have our leader who didn't pay for his domain. That is the secret we were talking about, the Mao secret. So if you follow us, send me a tweet to transfer the domain to him free of charge. Let's see if at least 10,000 Ugandans want that I am nice like that, helping a fellow broke Ugandan, even if you don't want me to transfer the domain back to him for free of charge. Even if you don't want, just join the discussion on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to check our leaders and check them properly. Thank you. And don't forget to subscribe